Hello YouTube, and welcome to the very first episode of Love and Flip Flop, Naija edition. Today's video is essentially about things you need to do in order to get to Nigeria.
Count your blessings, life is full of blessings. Thank God for His mercy, we pray. Waking up is a miracle. Open your eyes to the sunshine. Brush your teeth and wash your face. Step aside and live your life. What a day to be alive. Manifesting all of my greatness. With my mouth me testify. To all of your goodness me sing. Thank God for mercy. Counting my blessings. So many lessons. Everything I do by grace. By grace.
So, like me, you've met the man of your dreams and you have decided you want to go to Nigeria to meet him. Yay! Everybody loves love, right? So, sometimes we don't know what the steps are to get over there. We think, oh, we got a US passport, or we just buy a ticket and then we can get on the plane and then go run into our love's arms and all is right with the world. Unfortunately, that is not the case. You have to prepare to go to Nigeria. So today I'm gonna give you some information essentially about what you need to do in order to go. First, of course, you've gotta meet the man of your dreams, right? You gotta meet the Nigerian man and you gotta fall in love and decide you wanna go. African countries, you have to have a passport to travel internationally. So, step one, meet the love of your life, of course. And once you meet him, then of course, now you wanna go to Nigeria. Everybody loves love. So, the first thing you wanna make sure you do is that you secure a passport. And all of these things that I'm going to discuss with you, there'll be links in the bio for these specific things. You want to essentially look online. Most in the US, it's very easy. You have the travel.state.gov and you can find out where the local places are to get your passport. Right now, if I'm correct, passport prices are about $60 with a 6 to 8 week wait. And then if you want to expedite the passport, there's an extra charge, but I think the wait is about 2 weeks. I'm not really sure. I'm actually working on passport number 3. I'm on my 3rd passport. So whenever I go in to get a passport, it's a renewal and I always expedite it just because I don't want to sit on pins and needles for 6 to 8 weeks. But that's my own thing. Feel free to do that however you want. But I'll definitely put links at the bottom, and that's travel.state.gov. And from that website, you'll be able to put in your zip code and it'll tell you where you need to go in order to get your passport. Next, you want to purchase your ticket, of course, because if you don't have a purchase ticket, then you can't apply for a Nigerian visa, unfortunately. So you definitely want to purchase your tickets. Of course, there are tons of websites you can go to. You can use Google Flight. I personally, just because I build up the flight miles, the miles so that I can use those flyer miles, of course, to purchase additional tickets or what have you. I always use Delta. Delta seems to be the easiest way to get out there as far as no long wait times, as far as layovers and things like that. And Delta's real good about trying to find the best. I feel like this is my perspective, disclaimer, my perspective on things. Delta is really good about being able to find you the best route, of course. As far as layovers, the higher layovers seem to be in Europe if you take that route. I'm coming from the West Coast, so a lot of times I am taking that route through Europe. I'm normally going from where I'm at to LAX, from LAX to either Paris, Amsterdam, or London, and then from there into Lagos. Or I have taken the route where I've flown from where I'm at on the West Coast which is Nevada, to Atlanta, and I've flown to New York before, and then of course a straight shot into Lagos. I find that those flights where you are doing a straight shot directly from the US to Lagos seems to be the easiest. At least it was for me. And initially I began traveling during COVID. So yeah, it was a lot of hurdles and boundaries and challenges to get through in order to successfully make a flight and get there to Lagos. So after you've went ahead, got your passport, purchase your ticket, now here comes the next thing. You have to purchase a Nigerian visa. Now, the visa process, I'm not gonna say that it's complicated because it's really not. It's just a little time consuming, I think, but again, my situation was a little different. When I decided that I wanted to go to Nigeria, essentially, it was right before all of the borders got closed. So I ended up having to, of course, reschedule my ticket and wait, and they finally opened back up the borders and the embassy in September. So I think that was September of 2021. No, September of 2020, excuse me. So what I ended up having to do is I went online to osiservices.com, okay, and I applied for my visa there. Now, there's some documentation that you will need in order to do it, and it actually gives you a layout stipulation of, you know, if you're coming in as business, if you're coming in for a tourist, if you're coming to visit someone. Again, the easiest thing, disclaimer, my perspective on things, the easiest thing, it was for me to do a tourist visa because I did not have to essentially get a letter of invitation. Then there's additional supporting documents that need to come with that letter of invitation and all of that stuff. And it just was easier for me to just get a tourist visa because I'm one of those people. I like to handle everything myself. I don't like waiting on someone else to give me something that I need in order to move forward. So I'm one of those control freak type of people. So with that being said, I did go to osiservices.com. From there, I went ahead and inputted, of course, my information, name, passport number, my address, country of origin, all those good things. And then I had to also upload a copy of my purchase ticket, as well as I went to booking.com and booked my hotel stay for that time. And I had to have documentation of that as well. Once you've completed that form, then you have to go and pay for it. I believe that it was $100. I apologize, it's been almost 2 years. But I believe it was about $100 that I paid for that particular portion of the visa. And then from there, I had to make an appointment with OIS. I keep saying OSI, it's osiservices.com. And again, there'll be links in the bio for all of this stuff. I had to go ahead and schedule a biometrics appointment because they do want to get your fingerprints on file. Not really sure why they want them, but hey, I want to get to Nigeria. I'm following my heart. I want to go. So I went to OIS. You go to the OIS website and you schedule your appointment there, and it'll have like the cities that OIS is open in. Now, at the time I was traveling, the closest office to me is in LA. 4-hour ride, no big deal. However, there was no available appointments. So when I finally was able to get through to OIS, and it was a joint effort because I was calling and one of my sisters was calling as well, we found out that the OIS office in LA was closed indefinitely. Now, I don't know if it's back open, and I probably should have did some research on that before I did this video, but hey, I'm giving you something to do. Homework. If you're on the West Coast, you may want to go ahead there. I've heard stories of people going to the actual embassy to get visas. I don't know how true that is, but I can only tell you, disclaimer, my perspective on things, what happened to me. So the OIS office was actually closed, and the closest one to me, the next closest one to me would be in Atlanta. So I made an appointment at the OIS office in Atlanta, found me a cheap flight from Nevada to Atlanta, and did a day trip. I left at 10 p.m. Vegas time, got to Atlanta, 5 o'clock in the morning. One of my sisters picked me up from the airport, dropped me off to my mother. It was like a handoff all day long. Dropped me off to my mother. I hung out at my mother's house for a couple of hours and got some sleep. My mother, shout out to mom, best mother ever, she printed out all of the documents that I needed, which was the OIS application for the visa, as well as the bank statement that I needed showing that I had sufficient funds to take care of myself for the amount of time that I was going to be there. And just a hint, anything over $500 they're good with. Also, she printed out copies of my plane ticket as well as copies of my hotel accommodations while I was going to be there. So, and just to be safe, of course, the hotel accommodations covered from the day I arrived until the day I was leaving, just to be safe. I arrived at the OIS office. They were sticking to those appointments because it was relatively empty. I came in, very nice lady. She looked over my documents, took my passport. Major key here. I went to the post office prior to, not the post office, I went to FedEx prior to going to OIS and got a next day shipping envelope that was prepaid for. So I went ahead and did that, and I gave the people in OIS the prepaid next day shipping envelope, which was already filled out with my name, my address, and all of those things on it. So as soon as they got my passport back, instead of me having to wait a week or 2 weeks or whatever for them to send it snail mail, I got it FedEx second day. Next day it was there. So dropped off all of those things and then did my fingerprints there. She also took a picture of me there, even though I came with 2 of the passport photos as they requested on the website. I went to Walgreens, got, I think it was like 4 for $6, and I bought the passport photos with me to OIS. And they still took a really crazy looking picture with my eyes all acey-deucey for my visa. So after doing all of that fun stuff, I ended up leaving my passport there with them, and I left. Now, I was given a receipt at that time because you do have to pay like $25 in their office for the fingerprints. And because I kind of brought everything else, I already had my copies because they want you to pay like 25 cents a copy. If you don't have pictures already, passport pictures, then they want you to pay some money for those passport pictures and all of that stuff. So all I had to pay when I got there was the $25 for the fingerprint fee. Dropped my stuff off there. I was given a receipt along with a website and a receipt number, and was told that, of course, they would be emailing me once all of my information had reached the embassy and my visa and passport was on my way back to me. Now, my appointment was on a Thursday. I went to my appointment that Thursday. I flew back to Nevada that night. So I was barely in Atlanta for 24 hours, which is something I really don't recommend because I did get stopped by TSA and they stripped me down to my skivvies. And yeah, because clearly I'm a drug mule or something. I don't know, but yeah. So that happened because of a 24-hour turnaround, I guess. I don't know. So I ended up, flying back home that day. Now, by Monday morning, I had an email from the Nigerian embassy saying that they did receive my passport, they got my information, and they were issuing me a visa, and that my visa would be on the way shortly. Being that I paid for the FedEx tracking label, I was able to go ahead and input it. I waited to the next day, and I ended up looking it up on Wednesday, 2 days later, and I was told that my FedEx was on the way. I got it Thursday, so it took exactly 1 week for me to get my passport back with my Nigerian visa in it. Yay! So, got your passport, you have your ticket, you have your visa. Now, of course, you want to be sure, and this is coming from the perspective, again, my perspective, of what you are going there with the intentions of doing. In my situation, I was already very much head over heels in love. And I went there with the thoughts that if the feelings were still there, the energy was still the way it was while we were talking for a whole year on the phone, then hey, I was in it to win it. So I went over there, essentially wanting to get married. And of course, but this is a video for another day. That's my cliffhanger right there, because I'm gonna start chronicling the story of my journey to Nigeria, essentially. So with that being said, there are several different travel websites and different things like that you can look at that were really helpful to me. Okay, because I want to go into, let me not meander too much. Okay, so you have your passport, you have your ticket purchase, you have your visa, and you have met the love of your life, and you are on your way over there. When you get to the airport, of course, you definitely want to make certain that you still go to the Nigerian travel portal, because you do need to get a travel permit to go to Nigeria. Now, since COVID has changed, before they wanted you to upload a copy of your COVID test. I traveled the first time, it was 72 hours, no, it was 96 hours, then it went to 72 hours, then it dropped to 48 hours when the Omicron variant came out. However, I did go ahead and get fully vaccinated at that time, so that I didn't have to do the numerous tests that you have to do in country if you're not fully vaccinated. So as far as a few months ago, if you're fully vaccinated, you do not have to take the COVID test to get into the country. You do not have to take the COVID test once you are in the country, but you do have to take a COVID test to leave out of the country. And depending on what airline you do, a lot of these airlines have the virtual COVID test where you can do it through video chat, and they send you the self-testing kit so that you can go ahead and do it that way. Or you can just, of course, go to a local COVID clinic, which I did numerous times while in Nigeria, and they are actually really good about getting you your COVID tests very quickly. So I know of 2 COVID clinics in Lagos, and of course I'll be putting those links in the bio so that when you do go, if you are vaccinated, if you're not vaccinated, if you need a test to get home, you can definitely utilize those specific venues. Now, I don't know what the price of the COVID test is now, specifically because I have not been back in a few months, but I do plan on going in the next few months. So at the time that I went last, the COVID test was about 54,000 Naira, which is the equivalent to a little over $100. I want to say it was about 120, 130, something like that. I'm not really sure. My husband did kind of pay for that, so I have no idea. I just know that it was roughly in between 54 and 57,000 Naira. So yeah, that's how much it costs. And imagine, before I had to do that 3 times while I was there, because you had to take the test the day after you got there, a test in 7 days, and then a test to come home. So nightmare, right? And then the Nigerian government was very good about calling people out that did not take those tests when leaving, making them go to court, paying fines, suspending passports. They wasn't playing no games with that COVID situation. So I certainly was not going to play with them and get caught out there by not taking the test like I was supposed to. Some people are adventurous, they didn't do it. I did it. I didn't want any problems. So You definitely need to register on the travel portal still. Even if you're fully vaccinated, you have to get the QR code. The travel portal actually wants you to upload your vaccination card, including any booster entries, whatever, to make sure that you are fully vaccinated. I got the J&J. I just wanted a 1 shot and I'm good. And yeah, so that's what I got. And that's worked out well for me, because when I went to Nigeria the last time, I had no issues with my vaccine card. Now, I want to talk a little bit about actual preparation to leave. Now, when I had decided I wanted to go to Nigeria and I was in love and I'm ready to do this and all of this stuff, I was very nervous to talk to people in reference to what my real plans are, or even discuss with a lot of people about what I should do. So I essentially did what everybody else does, which is what? Go to Facebook and try to find a Facebook group about Nigerian wives. So that particular ordeal is a story for another day. But I will say that I did get some information, but not a lot of information that I felt like was valuable. It may have seemed valuable in the moment, but hindsight is always 20/20. So of course, once you've experienced it, then you know what you should have brought or what you should have done. So this next segment of the video is completely going to be about what you should bring with you, from my perspective, disclaimer again, what you should bring with you when you go. Now, tons of women that I spoke to had whole laundry list of bug repellent and this and that and just all of this extra stuff that was really, I don't think was really necessary. I didn't need it. I don't think it was very necessary. One thing I did do for certain is I did go to my doctor's office prior to going to Nigeria, and I did do the regimens of malaria medication, major key. The first time I went to Nigeria, I came back completely okay. No problems. The second time I went during the rainy season, and wouldn't you know it, the mosquitoes ate me alive. I came home and I had malaria. Imagine. So I took the malaria medication the first time I went. I took the malaria medication. It was 1 pill a week for a month before I left, a pill every week while I was there, and then 2 more pills, 1 per week after I got home. I did that. Now, when I went the next time and I actually caught malaria, I took the 4 pills before going. I did not take the malaria medication while I was there. And then I did not take the malaria medication when I came home. Hence, 3 days after I got home, I had symptoms of malaria, and it was a whole thing. And I will gladly enlighten y'all with that story on another video, because that story is a trip. Anyways, so with that being said, make sure you take the regimen of malaria medicine. If you are going there with the same intentions that I went there with, which is to get married, your husband is going to tell you, or your fiance or your boyfriend at the time, whoever he is, he's going to tell you, oh, you know, we have beautiful tailors here. We're going to make us beautiful dresses and matching outfits and all of those things. And those are great. Those are great. But we have to take into consideration our measurements in real life, right? So I am really tall. I'm over 6 feet tall. So the dress that was made for me did not fit me well. And I didn't think to bring a backup wedding gown. So, very important. If you're going there to get married, or you think you might get married or whatever, make sure you bring a backup wedding gown. That's so important. Make sure you bring backup glasses, because my glasses I was nudged in the airport, glasses fell off my face, boom, somebody rolled over them, that was it. And I am a 24-hour glasses wearer. The only reason why I'm not wearing glasses right now is because this ring light was reflecting off of it so badly that I thought the video would look crazy. So, with that being said, make sure you bring an extra pair of glasses. And depending on how long you're staying, of course, you want to bring, as you know, your personal products and things like that that you may not be able to find in Nigeria, because it was certain things that I brought everything I needed. I am my mother's child all day. I overpack personal hygiene products, things like that. So with that being said, I didn't have a problem with that, but I had heard stories about people, women in particular, needing certain products that maybe wasn't readily available for them there. So just a little hint on that. You want to make sure that you bring all of your products that you need. Also be advised that Nigeria is definitely hot, okay? Really hot. And when I left Vegas, it was winter, and when I got there, it was 90 degrees, and I was sweating everywhere. So it was not a good look. So, yeah, Nigeria is very hot. So you definitely want to make sure that even though we like to travel in comfort, we want to have on some jogging pants or, you know, a t-shirt and a hoodie just so you can be warm on a plane and whatnot. Make certain that underneath that hoodie you have on a t-shirt or something that you can pull off really quickly, because trust me, the minute you get off that plane, you have arrived. There's certain parts in the airport that do not have air conditioning, so you feel like you're walking through the tunnel to Hades because it's so hot. And then you get in other parts of the airport that is air conditioning, and that's great. And you know, you get your air conditioning on and all of that stuff. Which brings me to my next thing. The airport. So, going to the airport the first time is extremely scary. I learned that Nigerians are very aggressive speakers. So, whereas it may feel like somebody's yelling at you, in fact, they're just talking very passionately. So, in my experience, coming through the airport the first time, I don't really know which way to go. There's not a lot of signs. There's not a lot of people that's gonna help you. And I was told by several people, including my husband, not to be too friendly in the airport. Don't do a lot of talking in the airport to people, because at that particular time, and I hear that it's gotten better, it definitely did get better the last time I was in Nigeria as far as the extortion was concerned. People asking you for additional monies to get through the line, you standing in the line, it's hotter than hell in that line, and then you see 5 or 6 people come around, get in front of you and get through immigration, and you're like, what the hell, I'm standing here. But you know, I wasn't paying the fees. I was in utter disgust about the whole situation. So, and then I'm in a third world country, not a third world country, but I'm in a country that isn't mine. So I don't want to really turn up like that, because I don't know if it's okay to just slap a bitch in the airport or something. I don't know. So I'm trying my very best to not let the Brooklyn come out of me. I just want to get out of this goddamn airport because it's hot. You know, my glasses broke. I can't see nothing. It's the first time I'm meeting this man, and it was just a crazy situation. The airport is definitely intimidating, because like I said, you get off the airport, you get off of the airplane, you come through a long tunnel and you get to the first desk. And this is the setup the first time I went. The setup has changed quite a bit since I went. Since from the first time I went to the last time I went, the setup really changed. But there was a COVID desk right there where, you know, they wanted to see your COVID results. And these people are calculating the COVID times based on your arrival time, which is not true. You're supposed to be, your COVID time at that point was supposed to be calculated from the time that you got on the flight. The cutoff was the time you got on your flight to go to Lagos. And they was trying to say that, oh, it had to have been 48 hours. And I was sitting there saying to the lady, no, it did not have to be that. Because guess what? All these people wouldn't be in this line right now, because we was all stuck in London for 10 hours. So I know it's no way in the world. So then finally, you know, I gave them a little pushback, but I tried to do it as quietly as possible because I didn't want to raise my voice, first of all, in the airport, but also I didn't want too many people to know that I was actually American, because I didn't want the next thing that happened to continue to happen. As I went past the COVID desk and I went to, it's a walkway and you walk around this long thing like this and you get to another desk. And the first desk that I had to wait in line there, and that first desk, the guy got my passport and asked me to fill out some kind of declaration card, which I hadn't filled out because they neglected to give us that inside the airport, inside the airplane, which is normal. And I noticed that first time, maybe it was because it was just coming back from COVID, they just maybe forgot or they didn't have them. But the next times, 3-4 times I went, I was given a declaration card on the plane, which I filled out, so I didn't have that problem. So I got the card and I'm filling it out, and this is when my glasses got broke. The lady bumped me and my glasses fell, and her and the people ran over them with the rolling suitcases. So I fill out the declaration card, I bring that, my passport, COVID test, everything up to the man. He looks at my passport, asks me if I have anything for him. It's the Christmas season, and I just shook my head no. So he told me to go back in line. So I go back to the line and I wait, and another guy calls me over, and it's the same thing. So I'm like essentially being bounced from desk to desk to desk. Like they figure they'll wear me down by that point. But by the fourth desk, they met Brooklyn Mischief, because she came all the way out and was very upset and was like, y'all want us to come here to visit from the diaspora, but I would have spent $1,000 already because everyone keeps asking me for money. I'm a guest here. Why? What are you offering me? Where's my gift? So after that, the guy stamped my passport, said, welcome to Nigeria, sent me on into customs, on into the luggage area, where I was able to, I couldn't retrieve my luggage because I couldn't see nothing. So I found a very nice porter who found my luggage rather quickly, because it had taken us so long to get through the lines. All of the luggage was already off of the belt and just kind of scattered through this one luggage area, which has since moved to a larger luggage area, but it's still very disorganized as far as people grabbing luggage that don't belong to them. I went one time during Christmas and people are going home for months and they're bringing the whole family with them. So you got people with 10, 12, 14 big bags and all of this other stuff. And yeah, so it's very hairy-carry in that luggage area. But I did manage to find a very nice porter. I told him that my boyfriend was gonna pay him, and he was like, oh, you don't have anything you want to give me? At that point, my husband had already told me, don't pull out no money, don't do any of that. Tell them that I will pay them. You're gonna meet me in the car park, I'm gonna pay them. So I stuck to my guns with that. The guy was nice and he walked me up there. My husband definitely paid him. Now, when you come out of the airport, it's a very long walkway, and it's taxi drivers and Uber drivers and people there trying to do money exchanges and people trying to sell you stuff and all of this extra stuff happening. So it's kind of sensory overload. That coupled with the heat, that coupled with the fear of the unknown, because you're going to meet this person that, you chatted with them, you video chatted with them, and you talked to them, and you feel like you got a really great connection, but the reality is you're just meeting them for the first time in real life. So, that's a little scary. That was a little scary. So, I was able to maneuver through that and, of course, find my husband, and it was wonderful and beautiful and all of that stuff. And that brings me to my next point. Even though I was going there to get married, in my mind, I still thought it was very important for me to secure a hotel. I didn't want to be in any situation that I would be uncomfortable in, staying with anyone's house or anything like that. And then I heard a lot of horror stories from other African American women that went over to Nigeria, and got left in the airport. The man didn't show up, or he took her to a hotel and dropped her off, and she didn't see him until she was about to leave, or just all kinds of craziness that, you know, have happened to other people. So of course those things were also in my mind as well. But I was very blessed and very lucky to have actually met a real person who is actually my person. So that worked out good. And, you know, but I still did secure hotel accommodations for while I was there, even though we were flying to Abuja. But we'll get into that story on another day. I do want to give you a few resources with figuring out things to do in Lagos, if that in fact is your destination in Nigeria. You can go to Sassy Funke's website. She has a Facebook as well as an Instagram, and she has the dopest travel guide that I've ever seen in my life of places, hotels, attractions, things to do, everything Lagos. And you can find that on Travel to Naija. That is her Instagram name, and it's Travel to Naija. And that's her Instagram. You can search that, you'll find it, and her book is worth the buy, and it's an ebook as well. I have it in hard copy, and it's in my room in a box because I'm packing to move. So I don't have it to show you as a visual aid, but I'm gonna put my hand right here and hopefully I get a picture of the book. So there's the book. But it is called Travel Guide to Lagos. Dope book. It had all kinds of restaurants. I'm a foodie that is afraid to eat food in a lot of different countries. I'm afraid of a lot of different things, but that's a story for another day. But it did talk about restaurants and different places and all of that stuff. And I ended up finding a hotel there that every time I go, if I do not stay in the city my husband lives in, we definitely stay in this hotel. It's called Perfecto La Villa. It is in Festac City, which is roughly about 20 to 30 minutes away from the airport, and good traffic. Bad traffic, it might take you an hour, but it's definitely worth the ride because it's right by a really large junction where there's a Mega Chicken. Also, it's easy access to the island. It's probably like a 30 to 35 minute drive from the island in good traffic. Bad traffic, it could take you an hour and a half, maybe a little bit more. But it's also in walking distance of a pharmacy as well as a COVID clinic where you can get your COVID test done, and they have the results very, very quickly. 12 hours. I took my COVID test at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and by 1 o'clock in the morning I was getting a ding saying, you know, I had my COVID test results. Not once was I worried about getting the results back, because every time I had the results within 10, 12 hours, it never failed. And we're talking about even on Christmas Day, never failed. So definitely Perfecto La Villa is a great place. And it's a nice hotel. It's definitely a nice hotel. They have a great rooftop bar. They have a pool. The room service is pretty good. I actually spoke to the chef because I hadn't eaten in a couple of days because my system was not acclimating well to the spices, the additional spices. And so I had spoke to the chef. He made me something specific that was amazing, and it was fish and it was rice, but it was so good. It was like I ate it like it was the last meal. It was so good. And you know, it's numerous bars, clubs, things like that all around that area that you can go to. I definitely recommend that, you know, just as an American, that with it being my first time going to Nigeria, I first thought that maybe my husband was being slightly overprotective and overbearing. However, I later learned that the protection was needed because I am American, and sometimes we get targeted. So, I never traveled outside without him, or his friends or his sister or somebody. I always was accompanied by somebody for my own protection and my own safety, which is good. So, and then Uber drivers and things like that, it was definitely people that he was acquainted with and things like that, because I know that sometimes as women, we want to feel independent, we want to go, we want to travel, we want to see stuff. There were plenty of stamps in my passport before I met my husband. So imagine, I'm used to traveling to other countries alone with no problem and coming back home safely. So that was definitely an experience for me to have to essentially need protection, so that's my thoughts on that specific thing. But like I said, I'll be putting links in the bio of all of those things: the travel to Naija, the oisservices.com for the visa, the portal immigration.gov.ng, which actually is the travel portal that you get your travel document for, that you need in order to be able to get on the plane, because they're not going to let you get on the plane without that. Also, the travel.state.gov to go ahead and find out where your local passport office is in order to go ahead and get your passport, so you can go and find Romeo to your Juliet. Please do like, share, follow, comment if you have questions. But this was the first of many videos. I did a lot of vlogging that I did not post, but I will be posting on my YouTube channel now. When I was on my way there, when I was in preparation to go, and all of those things. So I'm really interested in sharing that with you guys. Also, I am now married over a year and in the middle of the immigration process. So certainly I'm going to post a video about that journey. And I'm also going to post a video or several videos in reference to my journey with meeting my husband, with our story, because I want to tell our love story. It is my favorite story, so I definitely want to tell it. Alrighty, YouTube. Well, I feel like I did something really good here today. It's my first successful YouTube video. Now I'm going to go ahead and get this chopped and screwed and edited. And just so you know, the song that's on my opening promo is by an artist named Lamborghini. He is actually Nigerian as well, and it's called Count Your Blessings. I heard it on TikTok. I follow him and his wife. They're always going to different places. Lamb is quite hilarious. And they go to different places and they try different food. And it actually gives me ideas as to what kind of food my husband is gonna like, because Lamb is from Lagos too, from what I understand. So I'm sure they'll have similar palates as far as what they like and things like that, and acclimating to American food eating. So with that being said, definitely check him out. I don't know if that song is streaming on all platforms. I just downloaded it from Instagram and was able to post it, as the intro to my video. Download the song. It's a dope song. And I do want to thank you all for joining me today. I was extremely nervous and afraid, and oh my God, my face looks weird on the camera and all of that stuff. But I'm just excited to share my story, share what knowledge I do have about going to Nigeria, about being in Nigeria, for extended periods of time. And, different things like that I wish that somebody would have talked to me about before I went to Nigeria. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in, hanging out, and sticking it out with me. And again, like, share, save the comments, comment, subscribe, do all those wonderful things so we can build up my following and we can just build up. And so, we can kind of share my story, because it's another woman out there. It's another beautiful, successful African American woman or Caucasian woman or just a woman period that is tired of fishing in the pond that she has been fishing in and wants to see if she can fly fish on another continent. I want to let her know all about the journey. Y'all have an amazing day, night, evening, whatever time of day it is. Peace and blessings, YouTube.